This is something that I learned along the way. This was not something that was obvious to me. I know, of course, I went to Indian Institute of Technology, then I went to Georgia Institute of Technology, so all these technology sounds like, hey, I should be a great technologist, and technology is what the whole world is about. Actually, it turns out it's not quite true. The world is about people. At the end of the day, we have to work with people, and the people are everywhere, right? Your customers are people, your competitors are people, people who admire you, who hate you, who, critique you, they're all people, right? Colleagues are people. People who you look up to, people who you look down on, they're all people. Okay, so when we talk about, in fact, if you look at the Boeing company, the vision that we have, it actually says people working together as a global enterprise for aerospace leadership. Our vision doesn't say build more airplanes, build more satellites, do this, do that. It says people working together. Because ultimately, people are what make companies successful, people are what make society successful. Individuals can succeed, but if you don't remember the other people around you, you are not going to succeed. You're going to stick out as a sore thumb that people are going to come and destroy you rather than support you and work with you. So as engineers, most of us, especially if we are into technology, don't think about these things very consciously. So one of my lessons learned is that we do need to think about this consciously and learn how to understand the interaction with people, and that is where the idea of the emotional intelligence or the emotional quotient comes in. It's about what is the impact you are making on other people, other groups of people. And there's plenty of information about EQ and emotional intelligence and so forth, in books and in literature. You can go look it up. But the point I'm making is that technology is not the end in all. Technology is only one aspect of life. People become the more dominant aspect. This is again somewhat similar, but also different. Most of us, people who do very well in science and technology are what we call left brain people. We are very good at most of these things. We are very logical. We like to analyze things. We know if A means B means C. We know all these connections. We like computation. We like mathematics. That's something that comes naturally to us. That's why we are here in the Indian Institute of Technology. Otherwise, we'll be in some other college. Okay, but in real life, subjects like humanities, arts, and philosophy are all equally important. Actually, when I think back and say, what is the most important course that I attended at IIT Madras, it happens to be psychology. This was in the second year. There was a professor, I don't even remember his name. He taught us a course on psychology. And that has turned out to be the most important course, as far as my progress and my success is concerned. Yes, the mathematics and the, structural analysis, aerodynamics, all those things are important. But the psychology part of it is, again, because of the previous one about the people, is what has a lasting impact, independent of what particular problem I'm working on, what kind of role I've been playing in the organization. So my lesson learned is you should do things to exercise your right brain. Things that promote creativity, promote imagination, holistic thinking, which I mentioned earlier, comes back here. Okay, these are all connected, by the way. It's not like one is independent of the other. They are all kind of a connected mishmash. Arts are very, very important, actually. And I keep hearing, I was talking to somebody recently and they said, we have so many technical subjects to cover. We are going to cut out all this, other unnecessary stuff. Actually, I said, no, those are not unnecessary stuff. Those are the necessary stuff. Because for most of us, the left brain things come naturally. We don't have to work that hard on these things, because that is how our brains are wired. Have you guys seen a movie called What the Bleep Do We Know? Does that, anybody, who has seen that movie? Okay, many of you need to go see that movie. Okay, I only see 2 hands going up. Many of you need to go see that movie. Our brains are wired a certain way. The wiring of the brain can be changed. And one of the statements from that movie is about how when you do particular activities, the brain connections are created. The neurons that fire together make the brain wired together. Okay, when you do certain activities, the neurons in the brain, this side, that side, they fire together. And when they fire together, they actually make connections. And those connections are very important. When you look at the people who are successful, what I find is that there are people who are technologists, scientists who are successful, but the more successful ones are the people who not only have a good grasp of the technology side, but they also have interest and knowledge about some of those right side things. So make an effort to learn some of those things. Networking. Lot of times I hear, oh, what are you doing? I'm networking. How am I networking? Oh, I have Facebook, I have LinkedIn, I have this, I have email, I have Gmail, I have Fmail, all kinds of things. Okay? And then I say, where do you have the time to do this? Because if you have all these things, if I have Facebook, I have to go and look at the Facebook. I have to put something in Facebook. I hope that somebody likes me. If they like me, I have to like them. Right? I mean, what are you doing here? I mean, why are you doing this? Oh, networking is very important. Networking helps you to be successful. I say yes, but. Okay? Networking is no use, in my opinion, unless you are contributing something. So the working, creating something, contributing something, helping others is more important. So how do people value you? I can value myself and say, oh, I'm so great. But that doesn't count. Somebody else has to say I'm great. Right? So what will that other person look for? They look for, what do you know? And what have you done? If you are knowledgeable and you are willing to share that knowledge, you are valuable to that person. If you have done something, then they say, oh, this man has done certain things, therefore we can trust. We can extrapolate and say this person has done something, so, they will do similar things or, equivalent things. Therefore, that person is valid. Right? I simply know, how many names do you have in your phone book? Oh, I have 1,200 names in your phone book. What good is that? How many connections do you have on Facebook? I have 583. How many do you have? You have only 20? Yeah, you're useless. Not that way. How many connections I have Facebook or LinkedIn or how many email addresses I have in my list has nothing to do with it. It's not valuable to anybody else. It's only good for your ego. Oh, so many people like me or whatever. Okay? So the networking part is who do you know, and it's kind of like the icing on the cake, but if there is no cake, how much icing can you eat? You'll get sick. Okay? So first make the cake. First learn some things, do something with that learning, the network will come automatically. Once you have done something, people want to connect with you. Instead of saying, hey, can we exchange cards? Can you give me your email? Okay, then what are you going to do after that? Nothing. Okay? So this networking is a dangerous word because people keep saying, oh, how important it is to network. Continuous learning is very, very important. This is not a new idea. It's not even 20 years old or 40 years old. It is thousands of years old. If you go to our scriptures, the Vedic scriptures, there is something called the Convocation Address in the Taittiriya Upanishad. This was written, God knows how long, 5,000 years ago maybe, or maybe even earlier than that. There it says, do continuous learning. Okay, this is not a newfangled thing that some MBA, some Harvard or somebody created recently. It is extremely important because, especially in the technology business, because technology keeps changing. And if you say, well, I'm a great technologist, I know all the technology from 1970, that's very nice. You can sit there in that corner and you will collect dust. That's all that will happen. When we say we are a technologist, we have to be a current technologist. And the way you become current is by learning. And of course, today, I just put a picture of books there, but you can learn from, various methods today, electronic as well as non-electronic. The other thing that is interesting is that if you are actually learning, again, don't learn only about technology. Go learn things about the right brain side. Go learn about new things that you don't know. It makes your life interesting. You won't get as stressed out because, that's one thing I keep hearing about. Oh my God, we are all stressed out. Why? Because there are other ways to de-stress. You don't have to be stressed out. In fact, I went to a company this morning and they actually had a room, and there were two little chairs in that room in a kind of a narrow hallway. And they said, they were very, very pleased to tell me that we have this special room. I said, what do people do there? Oh, they go and de-stress there. I'm thinking, why are you getting stressed in the first place so that you have to go to a room to get de-stressed? Okay, something is wrong here. It's like, I'm going to fall sick, so I can go sit in this, get well chair. Don't get sick to begin with, okay? You don't need the get well chair. You understand? So when you read, and if you read the right things, of course, okay, that's a different subject altogether, you can actually make your life more interesting. So read. You can learn things, you can advance your career, you can make your life more interesting, and an important reason is you may have to reinvent yourself. I have reinvented myself probably 5-6 times in my career. Because that is the nature of the game. Okay, we are not a Kirana store merchant, sitting there and year after year same things happen. Even they have to keep up with the new brands that are coming up. They cannot say, what brand do you have? What brand of toothpaste do you have? We only carry one brand and we have carried this since 1950. Nobody will go to that store. Right? Even they have to keep up with what new things are coming up and, what the people like and so forth. So, it is important to keep learning, keep improving yourself. This is something that is somewhat interesting because most youngsters say, we are the new generation. We don't need the old people. Okay? But I think what I have learned, when I was young, I also felt, do I really need the old people? It turns out that when I get old, I feel that, of course we need the old people. What do you mean we need the old people? Because they carry this thing called experience, which cannot be packaged. Okay, people can write books, people can give you lectures, people can mentor you, advise you, whatever, but you never actually get the essence of what these old people carry in their heads. And that's true even for me. I go spend time with people who are older than me. And I'm always amazed at how do these people know this stuff? From experience. So don't underestimate the power of that thing we call experience. And fortunately I see more of that here. More of that meaning I do see the respect given to the experienced people here, just because our culture says, hey, you better be nice to this old man. Okay? But don't do it grudgingly. Do I have to be nice to this guy? Of course you do. Okay? Because that old man or old woman, they know things that you and I will never know.